And our lead this hour coming from New York. It's our daily ritual chatting about the JETS suck, parsing the words of Aaron Rodgers. Now, have you heard the latest out of the New York Jets practice facility? Maybe not. So Aaron Rodgers had a revelation recently. It was not at an ayahuasca retreat with Joe Rogan. But Aaron Rodgers believes that the New York Jets have their quarterback situation settled for the next generation. Say what? You say, well, Rodgers he's old, right? By quarterback standard, he's old. The big 4-0 right there. So Rodgers has it all mapped out, though. While he will remain the Jets quarterback for more than just this year, so he'll be there a couple years, he acknowledged that the backup, Zach Wilson, yeah, that guy, Zach Wilson, the guy's a stiff, that's why Aaron Rodgers is with the Jets, is ready to man the quarterback position when he is done. The quote from Rodgers, he told CBS recently, quote, "I'd like to play a few good years here with the Jets, and then hand it off to Zach for the next 15. All right, close quote. Rodgers will begin his Jets tenure when they take on the Bills on September 11th. That's the Monday night game, Jets and Bills. That'll be the debut of the new-look Aaron Rodgers Jets. So let us discuss the question. What are the chances that Aaron Rodgers, that his plan comes together? So my observations, I've got Yiddish, Bob Seger, and thunder and lightning. And we will lock all of these things together, and we are going to make a spider's web is what we're going to make. So number one. Yes. Aaron Rodgers comes across as a Pollyanna in green. You think that's real, though? You think that's legit? Or you think this is just what you're supposed to say? And is he the cockeyed optimist, Aaron Rodgers, or is he more of a pessimist? So he's going to play a couple more years, and then when he gets bored, he's going to hand the baton off to Zach Wilson, and then Zach Wilson, who has been unable to avoid drowning as quarterback of the Jets when he's played, he will then throttle up, and the Jets will go supersonic. Yeah, okay. That's the ticket, right? The Jets are going to have a Disney-esque plot twist to the franchise. And then, of course, the dream comes to an end. The dream comes to an end. The Jets, it's important to note here, tried to trade Zach Wilson this offseason. The key part of that is they tried to trade Zach Wilson this offseason. You see, nobody wanted him. The value is zero, which speaks volumes about the status of Zach Wilson in the fraternal order of the NFL. Now, maybe every other team in the NFL is wrong, and Zach Wilson's going to be great, but if the Jets were looking to trade him and nobody wanted him, that seems like a dead giveaway. Seems like a dead giveaway that this guy ain't it. And he's not the answer. Now, the idea that he's going to climb back up that ladder to replace Rodgers long-term is, at this point, a farce. Now, it is possible Rodgers gets hurt in week 1, 2, or 3, and then all of a sudden Zach Wilson's back out there, and he'll have another opportunity. But we get a chuckle out of all this, and I'll tell you why. It's a Yiddish thing. There's a Yiddish adage that means a man plans and God laughs. Despite the most careful planning, the visualizing what's going to happen, the road of life, I think we've learned this, depending on how old you are, is rather unpredictable. Right? Rather unpredictable. Roadblocks often deter us. That doesn't mean you shouldn't plan things out. Of course you should plan things out and have an idea and be confident that things are going to go on for a long time. But to think that you're going to pass the baton off to the backup who couldn't play, that's why you're there, and then he's going to play 15 years. I know it's flattery and embellishment and all that stuff, but come on. Stay tuned. Now, turning the page, let's go now to La La Land, a story that happened while we were away from the Watchtower here. Wild story. A tabloid story involving New Orleans Saints tight end Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was arrested over the weekend. He was taken into custody on a couple of misdemeanor charges, which doesn't mean anything. In California, when you get a misdemeanor, they actually give you a bonus. You get lower taxes, I think, and you are given free food if you get a misdemeanor. But anyway, he got a couple of misdemeanor charges after a very odd situation. A video obtained by, of course, TMZ, they paid for it, shows Jimmy Graham running down the street away from a couple of security guards who were chasing him. Graham was reportedly stopped by police while wandering through traffic and was eventually taken into custody on suspicion of being under the influence of a controlled substance. Also resisting / delaying / obstructing a police officer. They tacked that on for what, I guess S and giggles. So where is this Jimmy Graham story going with the Saints? Where is it going? So we will find the value of Jimmy Graham to the New Orleans football team. And at this point, it appears pretty high because it sounds like there's a full-on cover-up going on in the bayou. The team said that Graham was experiencing a, quote, medical episode and likely suffered a seizure. They issued a prepared statement saying that New Orleans Saints tight end Jimmy Graham, this is verbatim, New Orleans Saints tight end Jimmy Graham experienced a medical episode last evening, they said in the release, which resulted in him becoming disoriented. The team's saying that in a prepared statement. Now, all of this would lead you to believe that Jimmy Graham is going to be on the roster and he'll be there, good to go, and all that. It's the old Bob Seger tune, those Hollywood Nights. Not sure which resort the Saints were staying at, but whatever resort it was, it sounds like Jimmy Graham was enjoying himself to the fullest here. The Saints PR machine working overtime. There was more English from the PR department of the Saints than a backdoor curve here. The top spin inducing drop from the PR people. So if I've read it right, maybe I got it wrong, but from what I read, it was a medical episode, and then it was like, no, it was probably a seizure. And what is it now? Something he ate? Yeah. He sure wasn't moving like a guy that had a seizure or ate some bad swordfish. It seemed like he was moving pretty good, and it was like a slow-speed chase, though. And then he ran out into traffic. Now, I am not an insider. I have no insider information. But what I do know is common sense. And if you look up things that cause someone to run into traffic, drugs that cause someone to run into traffic, just Google that, and you'll be probably on the right path. Maybe not. Maybe it was actually just a medical episode that did not have anything to do with a certain drug that would be more likely to cause you to run through traffic. Final point. Let's move away from New Orleans, and we head now to Pittsburgh, PA, where Najee Harris is projected as being the man for Mike Tomlin's Steelers. But is he about to get a rude awakening in the Steel City? Say what? Is the spotlight about to be stolen away from Najee Harris, the first-round pick a few years ago? Harris projected to carry the full load, the full Monty for Mike Tomlin. But now, wait a minute, Jaylen Warren, undrafted nobody, Jaylen Warren has started to make some noise. Woo! Just like that. Yeah. Woo! Like Ric Flair. Made some noise there with the Steelers. Now had a big touchdown run in the exhibition season here, and there are murmurs that are starting, little small murmurs that are starting that is a running back rotation now in the works in Pittsburgh between Najee Harris and the aforementioned undrafted Jaylen Warren. So I'm going to go first here, and I'm nodding my head. Yes, I have no skin in the game. But if I'm Mike Tomlin, you got to do it. You got to do it. You can have the best of both worlds. Remember the old school running back combinations of the past? the thunder and lightning. That's what that would be. Because Najee Harris does not get big chunk plays. That's not part of his repertoire. It's not in his bag of tricks. In fact, the numbers back that up. Harris produced 7 runs of 20 or more yards. 2 in the last 2 seasons, had nothing over 37 yards. So he's efficient, but he's not going to break one and take it to the house. With this guy, Warren, unless that was an illusion and my eyeballs are deceiving me, my lying eyes, Jaylen Warren, on the other hand, looks like he can dance around defenders. He's got agility, and he can win a foot race against almost anyone. If that's the case, you got to mix him into the element, especially considering you look at that Steelers offense, and you're not particularly sure what you have at quarterback. You think Pickett's going to be okay, but you're not. Party is like, I don't know. You're not really sure. Like, you think you know, but you don't know, and you're waiting for the Pickett to Pickens connection to dominate the NFL. And the Steelers, this is how bad a spot the Steelers are in. Their third receiver is Rams trash. Allen Robinson, one of the great debacles the Rams have picked up ever, had a great resume with the Chicago Bears and was an absolute zero. Absolute zero with the Rams last season. Robinson's the third receiver. So they got Pickens on one side, Deontay Johnson on the other. They've got the tight end, which is a guy, Pat Freiermuth, the tight end who's hanging out there. He'll catch a lot of passes. And Kenny Pickett. There's not a lot of wow factor. Pickens has the wow factor. Deontay Johnson can too. But is Pickett going to be able to get them the ball? So again, I'm advising now, free advice to Mike Tomlin. Absolutely Jaylen Warren. Mix him in. Why not? You got a shot. That division, Pittsburgh in a division with Baltimore, is supposed to be much better this year. And you look around, you look at Cleveland, they're gonna stink. And then the Bengals are above everyone else in that division going into the season.